You know that feeling, right? When you're completely torn between your family and what you know is the right thing to do. It's got to be one of the most profound spiritual challenges anyone can face. So today, we're going to get right into that. We're going to explore what happens when your loyalty to your bloodline clashes head-on with your duty to a higher truth.
This is the very same agonizing question that the great warrior Arjuna asked himself thousands of years ago. I mean, picture this. You're on the battlefield of Kurukshetra, you look across and you see your own cousins, your teachers, your granduncle, and your heart just breaks. It's a truly timeless dilemma, isn't it? Being caught between the love you have for your own people and this demand to do what's right. So we're diving into this impossible choice. And let's be super clear here. Arjuna's crisis, it wasn't about being scared of a fight. This guy was a master archer, one of the best. No, his paralysis, it came from somewhere so much deeper. It was this gut-wrenching conflict between his love for his family and his sacred duty, his Dharma, as a warrior. I mean, it must have felt completely impossible. And you might be thinking, okay, that's an ancient story, what's that got to do with me? Well, here's the thing. Arjuna's problem is our problem. It's incredibly modern. Just think about it for a second. What do you do when someone in your family, driven by their own ego or dysfunction or maybe even manipulation, makes choices that force you to compromise your own integrity? See, this isn't just some old tale. It's a real-life challenge that so many of us are dealing with right now. All right, now we're getting to the good part, the law above loyalty. So as Arjuna is just standing there, totally frozen in despair, his guide, Krishna, steps in. But Krishna doesn't just give him a pat on the back and say, it'll be okay. Nope. Instead, he offers this profound shift in how to see things. He gives him a principle that just slices right through all that emotional confusion and shows him a clear path forward. And that core principle is all about one crucial concept, Dharma. Now, you've probably heard this word, but it's so much more than just duty. Think of it like this. It's the cosmic law of what's right, the very fabric of the universe, and it's your own unique, sacred job that lines up perfectly with that universal truth. It's the whole shebang. And right here, this is the absolute heart of Krishna's message. It's so clear. There's no room for argument. Dharma is the highest law. Period. It's not about who you're related to. It's not about some promise you made. It's not even about how you feel in the moment. Dharma stands above all of it. It's your compass for doing the right thing, always. Okay, but wait. This doesn't mean you're supposed to become some heartless robot, right? Absolutely not. What Krishna is really asking Arjuna to do is to be wise. The real choice here isn't love versus duty. It's way more nuanced. It's the choice between acting with real wisdom, which leads to true compassion, versus acting out of blind loyalty. And that second path, it just leads to bondage, to karmic entanglement that gets everyone tangled up in the same old drum. So what happens when you get this wrong? When a vow becomes a curse? Well, to see what happens when you ignore this principle, we just have to look at another person on that very same battlefield, the great Bhīṣma. His story, wow. It's such a powerful and tragic example of how a seemingly noble promise, when you put it above Dharma, can turn into an absolute curse. And get this, even his own mother, the goddess Ganga, tried to warn him. She said, "Your vow is too heavy for the world." Here's what happened. To help his father marry the woman he loved, Bhīṣma made this terrible vow of lifelong celibacy and, crucially, unwavering loyalty to the throne, no matter who was in charge. His mom saw it instantly. She knew that this promise, made in a moment of high emotion, was going to become a curse. And just like that, it set off this tragic domino effect. First, his vow was just completely misaligned with his own destiny. Then he got trapped by that loyalty, stuck serving the throne no matter how corrupt the ruler was, which of course led to him being forced to support total injustice, actions that went directly against Dharma. And in the end, the most powerful warrior, a guy who was practically invincible, was defeated. Not by an enemy's arrow, but by his own promise. His loyalty became his downfall. The takeaway from Bhīṣma's life is just crystal clear, isn't it? Greatness just cannot survive when it's crushed under the weight of vows that go against Dharma. It doesn't matter how great you are, how powerful, how noble your intentions are. If your loyalty forces you to go against your soul's purpose, it's going to lead to your own undoing. It's just a matter of time. Okay, so that brings us to the really practical part, protecting your karmic account. How do we take all this ancient wisdom and actually use it in our lives today? Well, the source material gives us this really great way to think about it. Imagine your spiritual well-being is like a karmic account. It's where you keep your spiritual and energetic balance. Now, when you get caught up in that kind of misguided loyalty to family, you're basically giving them the pin to your karmic account. And there are some serious threats here. Their issues can start draining your karmic merit, pulling you into their drama, lessons that aren't even yours to learn. They can misuse your loyalty, and by enabling their delusions, you end up creating karmic debt in your own account. It's like taking out a spiritual loan you never wanted. So, how do you keep that account protected? You have to understand Dharma's hierarchy of priorities. It's like a spiritual org chart. At the very top, non-negotiable is divine law, the highest truth. Right under that, your own soul path, your unique purpose in this life. And only then, down at step 3, do you find family obligations. See? Family is important, of course it is, but it never, ever outranks your alignment with universal truth and your own soul's mission. This brings up a really important question, right? When is a vow invalid? I mean, what about promises we've already made? The wisdom here is actually super liberating. A vow or a promise basically becomes null and void if it enables someone else's bad behavior, if it forces you to compromise your own integrity, if it ties you to suffering that isn't your lesson to learn, or if it stops you from fulfilling your true Dharma. Sometimes the most righteous thing you can do is to break that promise. And this framework goes even deeper. It redefines what truth even means with this idea of the righteous lie. Now, what's that? It's a lie that you tell to protect Dharma, to protect your own safety, or to protect an innocent person. And here's the kicker. It carries no karmic stain, no negative karma. Why? Because at the end of the day, it's your intention that matters most, not the literal words you say. So where does all of this leave us? It really comes down to having the courage to be true, to have the courage to redefine what loyalty and love even mean. This was never, ever about being cold or abandoning people you care about. Not at all. It's about discovering a much deeper, more authentic kind of love, one that's filtered through wisdom and integrity. When you really see clearly, you realize what Dharma is asking. It's asking us to reject the stuff that keeps us stuck, bondage, karmic self-destruction, guilt, all that dysfunction, and instead, it's asking us to embrace something so much better. Loyalty with wisdom, compassion with discernment, and love that is built on a foundation of real integrity. And this might be the most important takeaway of all. Choosing Dharma is not abandoning your family. Let me say that again. Choosing Dharma is not abandoning family. It is refusing to abandon yourself. It's an act of profound spiritual self-preservation, and you have every right to do it. So let's bring it all home, right back to that one central truth that just cuts through all the noise. Remember it. Dharma is the highest law, not lineage, not vows, not sentiment. That right there, that's your compass. It will always, always point you true north, especially when you're in the middle of a crazy emotional storm. And I want to leave you with this final thought. Following the path of Dharma doesn't destroy relationships. It destroys the illusions that are making them toxic or inauthentic in the first place. So the real question for you to think about is, what illusion are you ready to let go of?